Member for Pascoe Vale.
Thank you, Acting Speaker, and I too rise to speak in support of the Criminal Organisations Control Amendment Bill of 2024, and in doing so I'd like to acknowledge and thank the work of the Attorney-General, in the other place the Minister for Police, who's at the table, and their respective teams and departments for their work in bringing the bill to the House. And I'd like to, of course, acknowledge and begin by thanking the work of Victoria Police. Victoria Police, of course, work every single day, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, to keep each of our communities safe. And I thank them for the work they do across Victoria, across my community of Marybeck, Pascoe Vale, Coburg and Brunswick West, and of course for their efforts yesterday in their response to the protests and events at the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre. While every Victorian has the right to protest, of course, and while some in the crowd yesterday may have been well-intentioned, passionate and protesting in good faith, there is no doubt that, echoed on by the member for Richmond, many conducted themselves in an unacceptably violent, aggressive and threatening manner towards police members, with bags of liquid laced with acid being thrown reportedly, horse excrement, attacking and assaulting police. We've seen police, as we heard today from the Minister, injured and in hospital, and our thoughts and our prayers are with them and the rest of the police that remain in the CBD to keep our community safe. And as the Premier said last night, using the tragic violence and conflict in the Middle East that we all want to come to an end, we all want it to come to a peaceful end, is not an excuse to stoke fear, hate, division, and to bring violence and conflict to the streets of Melbourne is simply totally unacceptable and has no place in Victoria. And as members of Parliament, I think we all have a responsibility and a stewardship, regardless of whatever side we're on, to always work to bring people together, to foster social cohesion and to promote peace, harmony in our proudly multicultural and diverse community, no matter our differences. That's why I'm so appalled by the Greens member for Richmond for her role in stoking the flames of division yesterday, undermining community confidence, conducting herself as a chief community activist, not as a leader of our community, calling for peace on one hand yet supporting violent and intimidating conduct on our streets, coming in this place last night seeking to claim the moral high ground while simultaneously climbing that mountain of hypocrisy, and frankly conducting herself in a manner that's entirely unbecoming and inconsistent with being a member of this place. Speaker, Acting Speaker, inciting hate, division and fear will not win here in Victoria. And I want to thank the members of Victoria Police, including from Marybeck, and all of those who work under Inspector Andrew Makarkis for keeping our streets and our community safe every day. Because we all, as Victorians, have the right to feel safe and be safe, whether it's in our homes, in our communities or in our workplaces. Every day is a government working through our agencies to help support Victorians lead lives that are free from violence, crime or the fear of crime. And that's why since 2014 we've continued to make those record investments of more than $4.5 billion into Victoria Police to deliver Victorians the modern world-class policing services that they deserve, which has included $1 billion towards new and upgraded police stations, more than 3,600 additional police officers since 2014, $214 million in funding to roll out tasers to all frontline police officers and PSOs, and significant investments and initiatives towards crime prevention and early interventions to address those root causes of crime. However, we know along with those investments to support Victoria Police, with those frontline tools to identify, investigate and combat crime across our local suburbs, ensuring we provide the appropriate and accompanying legislation to prevent and deter crime, especially organised crime, which infiltrates and underpins a lot of the crime and overall crime activity, is absolutely critical. Along with having introduced and passed that confiscation amendment unexplained wealth bill in May of this year, today's bill will also help provide Victoria Police with those further powers they need to tackle organised crime and keep our neighbourhoods safe. Acting Speaker, the Criminal Organisations Control Amendment Bill before us today amends the Criminal Organisations Control Act of 2012 to reform Victoria's unlawful association scheme, introduces a new serious crime prevention order, prohibits the public display of insignia of proscribed organisations, namely those insignias and signals and patches of outlaw motorcycle gangs, and it prohibits members of proscribed organisations from entering Victorian government worksites. Acting Speaker, organised crime has been a concern, of course, for authorities across Australia and territories and states for many, many years. Laws as they relate to consorting between criminals were first introduced to deal with people considered to be consorting with vagrants and thieves. Australian anti-consorting laws have their origins in medieval English vagrancy laws, when vagrants were seen as proto-criminals and there was perceived nexus between the vagrancy and the criminality. Concerns about the behaviour of convicts who had finished their sentences also influenced the development of early Australian vagrancy laws. In 1852, the first vagrancy law in Victoria was introduced, and anti-consorting laws were first introduced in 1931 by the Police Offences Consorting Act of 1931. Part of the reasoning for the introduction of this offence was to stop people coming to Victoria for criminal activities, and the Police Offences Consorting Act prohibited people from habitually consorting with either reputed thieves, prostitutes or vagrants, and if they were found to have done so, a person could be imprisoned for a sentence of no more than 12 months, and those people would have been imprisoned, dare I say, back in Pentridge when it was well and truly up in operation. Mr Slater, at the time, who led the passage of the bill, further stated the bill will provide the safeguards which protect the general community to prevent the congregation of criminals, men who after coming out of prison are able to consort to conceive crime and ultimately to carry it into execution. And acting Speaker, the law since then, of course, has not remained static. It's continued to evolve and be amended and strengthened over time as organised crime has as well. And Victoria modernised the state's anti-consorting legislation in 2012 with the passing of the Criminal Organisations Control Bill of 2012, later supplemented with the Criminal Organisations Control Regulations of 2013. The subsequent Criminal Organisations Control and Other Acts Amendment of 2014 broadened the range of criminal offences that can trigger making declarations against a person or an organisation, and that followed on in 2015 with the Criminal Organisations Control Amendment Unlawful Associations Act. The 2016 Confiscation and Other Matters Amendment then further simplified the declaration provisions when it comes to individuals or organisations to make it easier for Victoria Police to obtain a declaration as the basis for a control order condition preventing the organisation from operating, carrying on business or taking on new members. However, notwithstanding these reforms over recent years, more needs to be done when it comes to tackling organised crime. And as we've heard throughout the debate today, the Australian Institute of Criminology placed the cost of serious and organised crime to Australian community to over $60 billion in 2020-21 alone, including $16.5 billion in illicit drug activity, $4.9 billion in illicit commodities, and $700 million in crimes against the person. And when it comes to organised crime, it's organised outlaw motorcycle gangs that continue to represent some of the more highly visible, but certainly not the only organised crime groups known to Victoria Police. The origins of motorcycle gangs, as I understand, in doing a bit of research ahead of today, emerged in the United States after World War II as informal support networks for returned servicemen. And it was in the 1960s that Australia experienced a rise in these motorcycle gangs in Australia. And while most motorcycle gangs have a devolved structure, they are also often developed and have developed strict military-inspired hierarchical structures and have fostered broader outlaw cultures categorised by violence and recklessness, but also camaraderie and loyalty. While not all members of these organisations are involved in criminal activities, some estimates suggest that about 3/4 of organised motorcycle gang members have a criminal record, mostly related to fighting, traffic violations, drug possession, or disorderly conduct. Victoria Police reports that 26 recognised outlaw motorcycle gangs are reportedly operating in some sort of capacity in Victoria, and that there's 2,000 outlaw motorcycle gang members and associates who have links to Victorian addresses. And this bill today will help support Victoria Police further continue to crack down and take the action they need when it comes to organised crime, but particularly outlaw motorcycle gangs. And with the time I have remaining, I'd like to just talk and thank again my local Victoria Merri-bek Police members, and particularly again my local area commander Andrew Markakis. On the 22nd of May, our local police hosted a community neighbourhood policing forum at the Coburg Town Hall, attended by 100 local residents, and locals were provided with an update on crime trends, crime prevention initiatives, road safety, family violence, men's violence, women's safety, young people and many other issues. It was an excellent evening, excellent discussion that was very much appreciated by the community. The overall offences recorded rate in Merri-bek was reported at being below the state's average offence rate per 100,000 of population. That is 12,750 in 2023, lower than the pre-pandemic levels of 14,300. Top 5 recorded crimes across Merri-bek that were reported included theft from a motor vehicle, 1,800 offences, mainly from unlocked vehicles. Other types of theft, 1,200 incidents. Breaches of family violence orders, 1,000 incidents. Criminal damage, 960 incidents. And obtaining benefit or property by deception, 670 incidents. When it comes to road safety, Merri-bek TAC hospitalisation claims had reduced from 199 in 2019 down to 142 in 2022. And on the issue of family violence, Acting Sergeant Sam Spencer in particular gave a very fantastic presentation about the work they're doing every single day to support women and children in need across our community, with total family violence incidents recorded at 1,840 in 2023, again lower than pre-pandemic levels. And the Community Sentiment Survey reported a number of issues of priority for the community: safety in public places, road safety, safety of property and possessions, amongst other issues. And I commend the bill in the name of my local Victoria Police members.